Yo, 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 what is up, guys? This is gonna be like a different type of video today. Well, not video, it's more, this is more of a stream, but we are going to be just kind of looking through the transfer news for today. Obviously, the two biggest news so far is that Chelsea aren't going to sign Mike Maignan, at least for in time for the Club World Cup. And it seems as if Thomas Frank has officially joined Tottenham Hotspurs. So obviously, so according to Fabrizio Romano, the Mike Maignan deal is fully off the table now. They're no longer going to pursue it, at least when it comes to this season. Another season, this specifically for the Club World Cup. And what I find funny is he says that they still maintain full trust in Petrovic, Jorgensen, Mike Penders, but if that was the case, doesn't really make any sense that they would be going to sign these dudes in the first place. Obviously, we know that they've been trying to get the deal down to like 12 to 15 mil, and Milan are looking to sell for 20 to 25. And I think it's just one of those things where, what's it called? Like Milan obviously are not trying to lose out on too much money for one of their top players, despite the fact that Maignan is like 30, is going to be 30 years old in July, only has a year left on his contract. So they're not going to be able to command that much money for him. And I don't know. I feel like with this Chelsea thing, there's two ways to think about this, because one, right, like, is it overpay on a 30-year-old goalkeeper with one deal left on his contract? Maybe. But then you also look at kind of some of the other transfers that Chelsea have done, and it's kind of just like, this is really, so it's kind of just like, oh, like this is what you refuse to do, right? Like you've spent 60 million on Pedro Neto, you've spent 25 mil on Robert Sanchez, but this is where you like draw the line. Like it's kind of like, why are you being prunes about it now, right? Like you spent insane amounts of money on players with like way worse reputations, right, coming into the club. So I can definitely understand like the frustration, like from that standpoint. Like like I'm looking at the club's like past transfers right now. Like you're willing to spend 50 mil on Kwenda, a 17-year-old, who I do think is actually really good, but still 50 mil on him, 35 on the lap with only one decent season in the top flight, 60 mil on Pedro Neto, like I said, another 52 mil on João Felix, 35 on Dewsbury Hall, 24 on Jorgensen. So it's like you can't sit there and tell me that like you guys are the patron saints of frugal spending when clearly you're not. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense from that standpoint. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. But I definitely do think goalkeeper is a position of need for the club. Like we just can't go into next season with Robert Sanchez and Jorgensen as the number ones, and obviously Petrovic has had a great season at Strasbourg, but I don't know. I guess maybe they don't trust them. They don't trust him to be the leading goalkeeper. I don't know what it is, but whatever the hang up is, they need to get over that. like right now. Like you're either gonna bring Petrovic in to be your starting goalkeeper, or you're going to get a goalkeeper with actual, with actual good reputation that can still play the position. So, like I said, they need to figure it out. That's just what it is. They need to figure out what they want to do in that regard. Um, Looking at some more news. So I guess Brian signed this new Italian defender from Hellas Veronas, who I've actually never heard of before. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's do a quick little check on what's this guy got going on. His name is Diego Coppola. Okay, so he's played. So he's 21 years old. So he's very young, and he's not going to be 22 until the middle portion of the season. See, he's an Italian All Pro. See, what was he looking like in Syria? I'm curious to see. So, okay, so he's not very active on the ball. I mean, granted, where were Hellas for Nervous? They're probably not a strong team to begin with. So they finished. Where was last season? Oh my goodness! Why doesn't it just let me look this thing up? Okay, so possession wise, okay, wow. Okay, so they're bottom of the league by an extreme margin in terms of possession. So I'm gonna take his in possession stats with a grain of salt, just based off of that context alone. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see what he looks like. If there's even anything to go off of for this guy. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. I don't need like crazy tape, but I am curious to see what this guy even looks like. All right, so what does the tape look like on this guy, bro? What's this guy doing? Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so he looks really tall. It seems like he can lunge in. Look at her. Here, how good is he on the ball? How good is he in the air? I'm curious. I know, just doing random impromptu um, player analyses is lovely. Okay, aerially, wow. Okay, no, so aerially, his aerial win percentage is insane, 64.6%, and he wins about 4 per 90. So basically, bro's not getting beat in the air. Like that's his interceptions are also really high, but again, that also makes sense given the fact that Hellas Verona's basically play with no possession, so like they're always constantly off the ball, doing off the ball work anyway. This should be an interesting transfer. I would definitely want to look into that, and especially for 10 million, that could turn out to be like a great transfer for them. Are you there looking to get secure the services of Kolo Muani, which I also think is a good transfer as well. I thought he was really good for them in spurts. I remember the game against Inter. He was by far their best player. He's obviously had like a good spell under there. PSG are definitely going to be looking to offload him at some point. So he scored 8 goals and 2 assists for Juve in 19 matches. In terms of what he was doing in Serie A, so he per 90, you're looking at like 0.62 goals per 90. Is able to still get a decent amount of dribbles. Also, I think this guy is fairly tall as well. Okay, yeah, 187 centimeters. Like, yeah, I thought he was really good for them. So, although I don't know what the price is that Colmani are looking, like PSG are looking to get for him. Like, I would probably guess somewhere in the region of like 30 to 40 million. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. I think that would make a lot of sense in my opinion, but obviously, I'd like PSG don't exactly need the money. You just probably need it more to like balance the books. I've never heard of this guy, so I'm gonna put a lid on this, just because I have nothing to say on. I don't know what team this guy came from or his history as a manager. Igor Tudor. Tudor? Okay, so he's the guy that took over um, after Thiago Motta. So in his 9 games as Juve manager, he's only lost one. He's won 5 and drawn 3, so his record is pretty good right now. And it seems like before that, the last job he had was as the Lazio manager, in which he wasn't there for that long either, but he also had a pretty good record. So it seems like the last like full time season he's had was with Marseille in 22-23. So let's see what was he doing that year for Marseille. Okay, this is so dumb. I don't know why I can't just change this damn season. It's kind of pissing me off. Okay, so what was the league on table looking like in 22-23? Okay, so this season he finished third, a good distance behind second, and 12 points behind PSG. And they basically lost 4 of their last 5 matches. So that tells me that they were probably more competitive than it looked for most of that season um, before petering out, I guess. To be fair, I find it really strange. Um, So yeah, looking at it, it seems like they were going into like match week 33. They were like second for most of the season, and they started off really well too. Kind of just looking at their results, like they had under this guy, they had won 7 and drew 2 of their first 9 games. Then they went on a mini losing streak, and then they went on another unbeaten run for like 2 months. Um, and they seemed to stabilize a little bit before having a terrible end to the season. So I'm really curious to know if he did he leave towards the end of that year? Like, did he have a bad relationship with the board? I'm not really sure. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure. But in any respects, he so far has done a decent job with Juve, and I guess they're interested in keeping him for a while. So yeah, it seems like they were fifth in terms of offense, fourth on defense. They were one of the higher possession teams in the league. So it seems like they have the metrics of a top echelon team. I don't really see anything here that would stand out to me as being alarming. Like big chances, they were pretty close to second because obviously PSG are just way better than everybody else. Fourth in terms of XG. Um, I guess their passing is a bit low, only being seventh in the league. Fifth in terms of touches in the opposition box. Have the second best XG conceded. Fairly high in interceptions, considering that they're a high possession team. First in terms of possession won, so that shows me that he employs a very high pressing system. So yeah, so I see a lot of good metrics here, and obviously, like I said, he was doing a good enough job. He was doing a decent enough job with Juve to get them into top four. So it seems like the guy knows what he's doing. Pep Linders has been appointed as the new assistant coach. Which I think I know this is the guy that used to be an assistant for Jurgen Klopp. So that should be interesting. Just more confirmation on the Ryan Cherky deal, but check out the video that I made on that yesterday. So I'm not really gonna rehash what I said because I already talked about it. And, they need to let this guy rest, bro. Claudio Ranieri obviously just did a great job with Roma to get them back into European football. I believe he ended up steering them into the Europa League. I think at the time that he had showed up there, like they were like lower mid-table, if I remember correctly. Let's do some fact checking. I don't like to just talk out of my butt cheeks without any facts backing me up here. Okay, so he had a very, very good win percentage. 61% win percentage at Roma. He won, so from November to now, he had managed 36 matches for them, and he had won 22, drawn 7, and lost 7. So that's a pretty good freaking record. I'm not gonna lie. I think what they ended up finishing in 5th place. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna crash out. I don't know why this table's like this. This is such a stupid concept. Yeah, so they ended up finishing in fifth place, agonizingly close to getting the Champions League spot. Um, so that's pretty impressive, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty impressive by him to do that. But he is old, like the dude old as hell, bro. And he was just trying to enjoy his retirement. Like he did not ask for this crap. Like he's 73 years old. Let the man rest. Like I think he only came out to help them out because obviously of the bad position they were in, but he was not trying to do this crap long term again. Like so yeah, I would say Italy, go find someone else to abuse, bro. Like he's not about to he's not about to save y'all from your trashness, which honestly I feel like I should make a video on Italy and their decline has just been tragic, to be honest with you. Tragic. I see there's 4 people in the stream. Chelsea dodged a bullet with overrated and overpriced Maignan, the latest shiny toy of the Chelsea fans. I mean, I like him, but yeah, I'm not. I was never really that pressed on Chelsea getting that deal done either. Like just because, like you said, he's definitely had some mistakes in him. He hasn't looked like he hasn't been as good this season. And he's 30 years old, so it's like you're trying to like do all this just to sign a guy who's about to start his decline, which I know obviously for goalkeepers isn't as steep. Um, but yeah, I mean, I still definitely think Chelsea to go get a goalkeeper. I just don't have in mind who that's going to be yet. But that's a good comment though. So for the 4 of you guys in here, make sure you guys like the stream as well. You know, I see 4 people, only 2 likes. I don't exactly love that. Okay, so now we go on to this Zubamendi thing. I keep saying that he's coming, but I feel like at this point, I only believe it when I see it because the whole Zubamendi tone. This rumor has been going around since like February. I think I saw like a report yesterday of like Real Madrid wanting to crash the party or some crap like that. Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Ter Stegen, Ter Stegi. Nah, screw that. Bro, Barca fans hate this guy. And for good reason, too. Like this guy hasn't had a good season since like what 2019? No, 2023. I know he was really good um under Xavi. So yeah, that's the lot like bro, that's the last time this guy has really been doing shit. Um like even just statistically, like he's not he's not yeah, I don't know if I definitely don't love that. I definitely don't love that. Like obviously I don't expect him to be making a lot of saves. He plays for one of the best teams in the country. 3 goals conceded from expected goals of like 6.5. I mean, sorry, 9 goals conceded from an expected goals of like 6.5. He isn't what's it called, aggressive enough in terms of coming out or claiming the ball either. His distribution, despite being accurate, doesn't do it anywhere near enough. Yeah, I'm definitely not happy about that. If this transfer goes through, I'm definitely not happy about that. I'll be honest with you. Um, Okay, let's switch over to the Guardian. Let's see if they have anything useful to say here. So obviously they talked about the signing of Ryan Cherky. Jamie Gittins is another player that I'm not convinced about, to be honest. Like, I like him, but I don't think his skill set is. I don't think his skill set is refined enough yet for a club like Chelsea to seriously come in and consider him. Again, even just looking from a statistical standpoint, right? You're looking at 12 goals, 3 assists. So you're looking at 15 GA, which granted he's only 20 years old, but is that significantly better than the production that the wingers are putting up right now that we have? No. And the thing I just really don't like about him is the fact that he completes so many dribbles, but yet his playmaking is so poor. So it's like, okay, you're completing 3, damn near 4 dribbles a match. And what are these dribbles actually leading to? Because it's definitely not leading to chances created. It's not leading to chances for your teammates. And you're not even really shooting that much either. So, and the thing with Dortmund is that he tends to play like a lot more isolated from everybody else, which I don't love as well. Let's see, this says here. Last transfer window, Osimhen was a big smokescreen, just like Maignan is now. Clearly throwing us as fans a bone to chew on and keep us quiet. See, I get what you're saying. I definitely do. But it's like, there's no point in doing any of these things if you're not going to actually sign the players. Because you keep this pattern up and then it just becomes like a new thing to beat them over the stick with. And I think too, like if you're like, I get the whole thing about the wage structure that they're trying to keep in mind, that they're trying to keep afloat. But if you're going to do that, then you need to make sure that the talents that you're getting hit and have a good success rate of hitting. Right? If you're not going to come out and sign a bunch of big name players because you don't want to pay big name wages, then the players that you do sign, they need to be successful transfers more times than not. Because you're not going to have the leeway of, oh, this transfer didn't work out because this top player didn't act like a top player. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that excuse or that sympathy because you went out to sign random ass players. But that's just my thing on that. And because I think now, right, like my thing with the players that they have signed is, do I love the lap? Not really, but I can understand the thought process behind signing him. Do I like Estavio? Yes, but he's 17, so he's not gonna. So he shouldn't be expected to be a ready-made player yet. Do I like Asuego or Sugo, or I don't know how you say his name. I don't know if I said his name right. I've literally never watched him, so I have no opinion on him either. Do I like Mamadou Sarr? I haven't watched enough Strasbourg to properly answer that question. Do I like Kendry Paez? I don't know. Like, so there's just so many unanswered questions, and you already spent 150 mil on 5 unanswered questions when you could have just spent that half of that and got a surefire answer to one of the questions that we need answered, which is who's going to score these damn goals with Ocean. And again, I understand from like a business perspective, right? Like, you don't want to tie your money into one asset, and if the asset doesn't work out, you can't move the asset. Whereas if you have a bunch of assets, it doesn't work out, then it's a lot easier to recoup money for that. I get that. I get that thought process, but still, I think if anything, if you had a ready-made team and then you had a bunch of different assets built around that, I think it would look infinitely better. Um, in my opinion, I think it would look infinitely better that way. But hey, I don't run the club, so it is what it is. Um, but I really want to talk about this Thomas Frank situation. Um, I see if I can find like an article on him. I'd definitely be curious to do that. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I'm actually curious as to. Okay, so Thomas Frank is signed, or at least it looks like he's going to, according to Fabrizio Romano. He's he's completed the report that he's definitely signing for Tottenham, and Tottenham have set to pay Brentford a release fee of 10 million to get his services. Which, to be honest, too, shout out to Brentford, man. Like they've gotten their best player taken from them, they gotten their manager taken from them. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they deal with this problem in terms of replacing Mbuemo, getting in a new manager to replace Thomas Frank as well. I'd be curious to see who they go for, but um, so I was curious to kind of just like read up on him a little bit. So in terms of it seems like one of his main tenets of his managership is being able to adapt and kind of change up his system depending on what the game needs from him. Um, so they kind of go into talking about the context surrounding kind of Ange and why he left. Um, so one of the things he says here is it's really important, like he says, adaptability or tactical flexibility is something I believe in a lot. It is really important and something we train a lot. First and foremost, I want to win, and that's why we are a little bit pragmatic, which is obviously something that Ange Postecoglou has been accused of not being able to do a lot this year. Obviously, he did that in the Europa League final to help Tottenham get over the line. Um, and then they talk about how he switches from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2 defensively to create overloads with players on each side of wide areas. Um, Obviously, again, they're talking about his ability to adapt to the opponent, to play compact or mid-low block in terms of defending, and obviously, like they're really playing like set piece routine. So there was like a point. I remember there was like a point in the season where they were like scoring a goal in the first minute of like every game or something like that. So that was a bit ridiculous. And the thing I like about Thomas Frank too is I definitely think he's done a good job with Brentford, especially when you consider that he doesn't like Brentford haven't spent as much money compared to even like the other mid-table clubs as well. I wish they had the I wish they split it up by seasons, but it seems like they don't. But yeah, no, like you look at this team, there's not really a lot of like standout players here. Obviously, Beno has been amazing this year. So is Vissa. Flucking has also been really good too. Um, but this is just a team of like hardworking players. Oh, okay. Like the Ipswich. Okay, so the former Ipswich manager is set to take over at Brentford. Okay, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I guess he's gonna get another crack at the whip in terms of helping the team survive relegation. Um, and then now he can. Now this time he's not gonna have the excuse that his team's not good enough, his players aren't good enough, the team didn't support him enough in the transfers. So he has a team that has been finishing um in what's it called? Has been finishing mid-table consistently for a while now. So they finished 10th this season, 16th the year prior, 9th the year before that, 13th the year in their first season in the Premier League. So yeah, and so yeah, in the Prem they've consistently averaged somewhere between ninth to um 16th position, so I'd probably average out to like 13th ish. I guess my only scare with them is like even just kind of doing shallow analysis here. It seems like they go through ups and downs on a per season basis. Like obviously, first season finishing 13th is good, and then they built upon that to finish ninth, but then they dip from that and only finish 16th, and then they finish 10th again. Um, so I think maybe the goal for Brentford next season should be to not dip too low and see if they can finish, in around like somewhere between 9th to 13th again. Um, just to really consolidate themselves as being um one of the for sure mid-table teams. Um, I think for them, what's also going to be important too is if if you may not do end up signing Mbemo, so they're going to lose one of their top goal scorers as well as one of their top creators as well. So they're definitely going to have to replace him. Um, Obviously, Vissa scored 19 goals himself. Kevin Schneid, I remember he scored a hat trick against Leicester. I think it was Leicester. He definitely gives me more of one of those guys that can um, make really smart off ball runs. Like he doesn't like he's definitely not the type of dribbler that is going to be on the ball as much, or is going to play make as much. You can obviously tell statistically as well, but he will get in the box, so he can score goals um, if he has people to play him in. So obviously, it's going to be important for them to be able to platform him because he got 11 goals. I believe this is his first season at Brentford or in the Premier. Oh no, he was in the Prem last year, but so it seems like he's taking a leap though. Um, so it's going to be important for them that he continues to score goals. Um, Obviously, Damgard has been like their main playmaker. He's played all over the pitch. Um, yeah, statistically creating a lot of chances for them. He's not a high volume dribbler, but he doesn't really need to be. Um, Again, the important thing is just for them to be able to kind of get him more help in that regard and make sure that there are people on the ends of the chances that he's creating. Offensively, they've been really good as well. Fifth best offense in the league in terms of goals scored. Defensively, I feel like I remember them usually being better than 13th defensively. Only 8 clean sheets this season. I'm curious. So 2 seasons ago they were 13th with more goals conceded, and then 3 seasons ago they were 5th. So obviously defensively, they've basically just like regressed every single year, or I guess maybe the 5th year defensive, the 5th defensive best defense thing was probably more of an outlier than a true reflection of what their team's quality is defensively. But see, Frank Thomas, Frank Thomas must take his captain Norgard with him to Tottenham, Vista, and Embuemo too. I mean, to be honest, I don't think they need Norgard because Tottenham have James Madison, who is also um, an elite playmaker in of himself. And I'm also a big fan of Solanke too. I think he's massively underrated. Like I think for especially for like a striker, I think his playmaking is really good. Although I do think Mbemo, it's weird too because Tottenham have what's his face? Um, is it Ben Johnson? Ben Johnston? I don't know how you say his name. The Welsh dude, who himself actually scored a lot of goals too. To be fair to him, granted he's not definitely not good on the ball, but um, I mean all things considered, right? Like when we look at Tottenham, right, you have Brennan Johnson. He got 18 goals this season. Like again, I don't know if he's gonna be able to keep that up for next year. Um, he basically does not touch the ball, which is kind of worrying as a winger, to be honest with you. But I guess we'll see, which is pretty funny. Obviously, Tottenham have dealt with a lot of injuries this year. Tottenham are like the extreme of the extremes. Their attack is pretty good. 16th best defense is pretty much unacceptable. Only 6 clean sheets this year, despite having being one of the top 5 teams in terms of possession. I'm actually surprised too. Their chance creation is not nearly as high um, as what I would expect for it to be. Um, which honestly which to be fair, I think might make a bit more sense as to why they turn the ball over a lot. Um, 6th in terms of accurate passes, 8th in terms of touches in opposition box, 4th worst defense from an expected goals perspective. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of holes on this team, and I expect them to have a lot of departures, given the fact that a lot of those players really liked playing under Ange Postecoglou, Ange as well. But still, I'm definitely a big fan of this appointment. I definitely think it's going to go well in terms of like his adaptability and the um, kind of bringing what this team needs. All right, moving on. So Barcelona are signing Joan Garcia, which you alluded to earlier, with this comment. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna act like I've watched too much of him, because I'm definitely not. He plays for Espanyol, which is obviously one of Barca's main, not Barca's main rivals, Real Madrid, but they're one of their intercity rivals. Um, So I mean, so far, like his statistically, he looks pretty good. Like he's conceded less goals than the expected goals on target. Whatever happened to the I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube, but I mean, no, listen. You got to give Ange credit when it came time for him to be pragmatic and win that Europa League. He did it, right? He played the terrorism ball against United. He parked the bus against Frankfurt as well. And to be fair to him, he even tried to do that against Liverpool in the League Cup final, and it just obviously it didn't work out because Liverpool just smacked them. But I think Andrew's the type of coach where if the trophy's on the line, he's willing to bend his philosophy to in order to win the trophy. But basically, on any given day, though, he's not going to budge. That's I think that's just kind of what Ange is, and I feel like Daniel Levy probably just looked at all of that and was like, I don't want to make the same mistake as Man United did with Ten Hag. We basically have a chance to start over again. We're gonna get some Champions League money. Let's just get in somebody else. I think that was. I feel like that's probably what Daniel Levy did. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to take that risk. Um, but yeah, I really like the look of this goalkeeper. Statistically, he looks really good. Um, Typically, if I look at a goalkeeper from a statistical point of view, this is what I care about right here. Um, so it seems like he can make a lot of saves in the top corner, which is obviously very important. Um, and usually what I like to do as well is to see how consistently this tracks. Interesting, because this guy is pretty young. He's only 24, and he's only played at Espanyol. So yeah, I'll definitely have to watch more tape on him. I definitely don't have much to say about him, at least right now, anyway. The last thing I'm gonna do before I wrap it up here is kind of just take a look at the confirmed transfers, if there are any. Okay, so what are some other deals what are some confirmed deals that we would care about? So Joe Bellingham officially gone to Borussia Dortmund, so he's going to follow in his brother's footsteps. Going from a championship club to Dortmund. Um, I've caught very, very little of him, to be honest with you. But I mean, I like the look of him. He's 191 centimeters, so dude's tall as hell. Obviously, he's only 19, so incredibly young. And he seems to be one of those like well-rounded midfielders, very, very similar to his brother in that respect. And actually, what I'd be curious to see if I did a little bit of investigating here is okay. So I'm comparing him with Jude's lone season at Birmingham City. So it seems like Joe plays more as like a left-sided midfielder, left-sided center midfielder, whereas Jude is a little bit more all over the place. Very similar from a attacking standpoint in terms of their shooting and their big chances missed. Again, even passing wise, seems like Job is a little bit more refined in that area, has higher defensive stats. But again, I'm not gonna act like I've watched a lot of Birmingham City to know if they were just like a high possession team or not. It seems like Jude is slightly better in terms of dribbling, but Job's better in the air and loses the ball a little bit less. So yeah, no, a lot of the metrics are very similar to his brother. And according to SofaScore, he seems like he was doing better when he left. So it'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see if his game translates immediately at Dortmund too. So 27 plus 41 add-on. So you're looking at 31 million for a 19-year-old is pretty high, but when you're also looking at the precedent that his brother set, as well as the fact that he is already kind of following in those footsteps, it makes it a bit more understandable. We'll see United, Man City signed Nori from Wolves. My thoughts on this guy is very good offensively. I think defensively he's a bit flat-footed. He's a bit flat-footed defensively, and he's not athletic enough for his positioning to be as questionable as it is. So I think 1v1, it's very easy for wingers to get at him, but so I'd definitely be worried about that. But offensively, though, I think Pep is going back to his roots in terms of having just high technical players all over the pitch. I think PSG have been like a big revelation that having high technical players, all of them that can beat you one-on-one, is a elite way to run through competition. Just because you're basically going to be able to create advantages on top of advantages easily. Let's see, any more transfers that really tickled my fancy. I know he was really good offensively for Lazio. He got a lot of assists for them. Shout out to Liam. I feel like I've talked about that on other people's channels ad nauseum. Kelleher going to Brentford. Interesting transfer. It's a very interesting transfer because I know Flucken has been good for them last year, so I don't know. So he actually went to Bayer Leverkusen, which I didn't even realize. So it makes me question then, who is Bayer Leverkusen's goalkeeper? I think it was his name was like Hadrecki. Was it Hadrecki? So what was the dealio with him? Was he just injured this year? Yeah, so yeah, it looks like he is a bit washed. I'm not gonna lie. And how old is he? He's 35. Okay, so yeah, so they definitely needed a new goalkeeper. So that explains the little bit of business that went on there. Yeah, and then Mateus Cunha, good player as well. I really like the look of him. So yeah, that's gonna be the stream for today, at least so far. Who knows? Maybe I might stream a little later at some point. I don't know yet, but for everyone that joined, I appreciate it. So thank you guys for joining the stream. Kind of leave your thoughts and comments below in terms of in terms of what you think of the summer transfers so far. The weak link in the Pepsi system. City is alarmed. He is a passenger. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if he's able to adapt. We'll see if he's able to adapt. I think that's going to be an interesting question to figure out next year. But again, thank you guys for joining. You guys make sure you have a good rest of your day. I may or may not stream at some point later. But if I do, obviously, I will let you guys know. So, again, thank you and have a good day. Again, thank you for joining.